Honourable Ministers, Pacific Island Forum Secretary-General, distinguished guests and participants, and Commonwealth friends. I'm extremely grateful for the invitation to address this distinguished Pacific Joint Forum Trade and Economic Ministers meeting. This meeting comes at a crucial time for trade and the economic life of this region. And so I'm sorry that I cannot be with you in person, but so grateful that I am able to appear virtually. With the rollout of vaccines, some countries are now in a position to be able to reopen more fully to travel and to resume trade, whilst others are still constrained by having to tackle new waves of infection or by lack of access to life-saving vaccines. Sustainable and inclusive recovery globally requires enhanced regional and multilateral cooperation on a range of priorities to contain the pandemic, to mitigate its impact on trade, livelihoods and health, and to facilitate open trade and undisrupted supply chains, especially for medical equipment and with equitable access for all to essential vaccines. COVID-19 has severely affected many small and vulnerable economies across the world, including the Pacific Island countries. The tourism sector of many member countries has been particularly hard hit, whilst maritime shipping has also been affected. The high dependency of nations of the Pacific on international trade for job creation, livelihoods, growth and development has considerably heightened vulnerability to the consequence of the pandemic. In 2019, trade contributed to average approximately 99% to the GDP of Pacific Island countries, compared to a global average of about 58%. The majority of trade challenges being faced predate COVID-19 and tend to arise from excessively high trade costs relating to small size and remote geography, diseconomies of scale, limited infrastructure, concentrated production and export sectors, and vulnerability to climate change and recurrent natural disasters. Strengthening and deepening regional integration in the Pacific region is therefore indispensable for overcoming these constraints, as well as for post-COVID recovery and resilience-building efforts to enable future prosperity. In that context, the recently developed 2020-2025 Pacific Aid for Trade strategy is a salutary example of a collective regional approach for leveraging resources to build trade capacity, improve trade competitiveness, and develop trade-related infrastructure in key priority areas, including in trade facilitation, digital trade, and e-commerce. The joint initiative on the digital economy and the concept note to develop a blue economy are further milestones in progress through regional cooperation to mitigate some of the consequences of the pandemic and build resilience. Today, I wish to assure you that the Commonwealth Secretariat, in collaboration with the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat, will continue to support our Pacific member countries on this journey. We greatly value the partnership between our two organisations and must strive to work together more closely, including by mobilising development partners' support and funds. One area for greater collaboration is to assist our members to develop a Blue Pacific strategy by helping them better articulate what the blue economy means for trade and development, especially through the lens of sustainable development. The Pacific region has the largest maritime area amongst Commonwealth's developing country regions. Its maritime area to land area ratio is 20:5, which is much higher than other Commonwealth regions. These vast maritime areas are abundant with valuable resources, but which are already under serious threat from climate change, rising sea levels, pollution, including plastics and oil spills, and overfishing. With limited capacity and resources, most Forum Island countries are confronted by the challenge of how effectively to manage vast, exclusive economic zones. Yet, if successfully managed, the abundant marine resources can lead to greater prosperity and a more sustainable future. As part of the global effort to help small island developing states to overcome some of the challenges being faced in utilising vast exclusive economic zones for development purposes, especially to achieve and help achieve SDG 14 on life below water, we have in the Commonwealth devised and adopted our Blue Charter on the basis on which to cooperate on solutions to ocean-related problems and to meet commitments for sustainable ocean development. The Commonwealth Blue Charter is different from other multilateral environmental agreements as it focuses on how countries will, with the support of the Commonwealth Secretariat, organise and mobilise to meet existing national and international commitments such as SDG 14. 5 Pacific countries, Australia, Fiji, Kiribati, New Zealand and Vanuatu, have stepped forward to lead on specific topics, areas under the Charter, respectively on coral reef protection and restoration, ocean and climate change, sustainable coastal fisheries, and ocean acidification. Considerable work remains to be done to support the connectivity of our members. The physical isolation of most Pacific region countries from major markets adds considerably to trade costs because of factors such as high sea freight costs, limited shipping connectivity, including liner shipping connectivity, infrequent shipping services, delays at ports and heavy reliance on indirect connections which often require several transshipment stages. Most ports in the region are relatively small, with limited capacity to handle cargo, and these require expansion in order to handle the increased volumes needed to participate more viably in international and regional trade. In addition, the Pacific region is also digitally isolated, as some countries, including our Commonwealth members, Kiribati, Nauru, Solomon Islands and Tuvalu, are not served by submarine cables to connect digitally to the rest of the world. This significantly impedes opportunities and progress towards participating more optimally in the world economy, especially in digital trade and in e-commerce. The lack of digital connectivity presents barriers to market access which can only be resolved by developing more integrated digital infrastructures in the region. A priority for Commonwealth and the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariats is to work alongside our member countries on complementary projects towards greater connectivity within the region and with the wider world. The Commonwealth Connectivity Agenda adopted by Commonwealth leaders at the 2018 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting aspires to increase intra-Commonwealth trade to $2 trillion by 2030. In working alongside our member countries to deliver this, Commonwealth Secretariat support for increased connectivity in the Pacific presents opportunities for businesses and communities to leapfrog with new technologies, paving the way for economic development and a blue Pacific continent. Beyond regional activities and projects, the Commonwealth continues to support the PIF Secretariat and its members to advocate and advance the interests of the Pacific region and its nations at multilateral level, including by helping to build consensus and partnerships between countries on various issues. For example, at our Commonwealth Small States Office in Geneva, we host the missions of the PIF Secretariat and Vanuatu. Our 2 trade advisors based at the office provide technical and advisory services to help advance issues in the interest to Pacific countries in the multilateral trading system and other international organisations. This includes issues such as fisheries subsidies, on which we hope there will be an agreement at the WTO's 12th Ministerial Conference later this year, as well as new and emerging trade issues, including e-commerce, climate change, and sustainable trade, including circular economy principles. Another area of support to our Pacific members has been the Hubs and Spokes programme, which operated in the region from its inception in 2004 until its close in April 2019. This programme placed national trade advisors in the government ministries of 6 countries, namely the Federated States of Micronesia, Fiji, Kiribati, Samoa, Tonga, and the Republic of Marshall Islands, and 2 were stationed at the PIF Secretariat. If we are able to secure resources, we would like to continue this programme as it delivered real value and benefits. We are fortunately able to maintain one advisor, the Great Jill, on a co-funding basis with the PIF Secretariat until the 31st of December 2021. We know this will make a real contribution to our ability to work in partnership and deliver results, and hopefully lead to a successor programme which we anticipate will be able to commence in 2022. In all these areas, we offer Commonwealth support to assist and encourage Pacific Island nations towards boosting regional trade, investment and cooperation by implementing existing and new trade agreements. With specialist expertise mobilised through multilateral and international partners, it becomes more feasible for governments of small island states in the region to digitise trade facilitation measures and thereby significantly to reduce the time and costs of clearing goods through borders and make the Pacific Island countries more competitive. It is also important now to invest in vital infrastructure along the tourism value chain and to upgrade capacity and skills to embrace digital technologies. Many of these issues are addressed in our 2021 Commonwealth Trade Review, which we launched earlier this week. Our report offers a range of innovative ideas and practical recommendations to assist our member countries with their recovery from the pandemic, especially by harnessing digital trade and technologies. The report is now available on the website, and at the conclusion of my remarks, there will be a short video which I hope you will all enjoy. I'm sure all these opportunities, interventions and factors will be foremost on your minds as you examine the possibilities for a sustainable, resilient, peaceful and prosperous Blue Pacific beyond the pandemic. Together, I know we will be able to reset the agenda so that we are able to meet the Sustainable Development Goals, which in the last year have seemed so much more challenging, but still achievable. I wish you every success and hope all of you will stay safe and well, and I look forward to the results of this wonderful conference. Thank you.